Oh, there we go.
Okay, so we're live. We are here with GIna and Joseph. And
Hi.
hi, Joseph. And he looks so amazing. And you've had such a transformational experience with two babies, Joseph and Sierra. And I just want to celebrate you. I want to
Thank you.
celebrate your results and your dedication and your commitment. And I want to share your drive with the world because, you know, you're showing up, your tenacity and your desire is what really brought you the results that you have so far, right? So, as we know, having babies is a hard thing, and oftentimes we put ourselves last. And I want to say that you actually put yourself first. You said yes, and you said yes to your desires. And that's a very, very powerful thing for anybody, but for women especially. And to say yes to yourself because you knew, and I'm going to let you speak in a minute, but you knew in your heart of hearts there was something else going on, and there was something else even bigger and better. And you're on today because you want to share what those are. You want to celebrate yourself to the world, but also you want other people, other women like yourself, to know that it is possible. So I'm just excited to get going. So, first, talk about the type of pain that you were in.
Yeah, it was painful. So I had my twins naturally, but they were premature, so they were in the hospital for a bit. And so they didn't have the mouth structure to breastfeed. And I thought, oh, well, once they get older, they'll breastfeed, no big deal, and we'll get through this. But months and months passed,
Mm-hmm.
and that just didn't happen for me. I had this fear that they weren't getting what they needed from me because the doctors, the lactation consultants at the hospital, they reinforced that I'm not producing enough, the babies aren't strong enough, I need to pump, bottle feed. And it was a struggle to get them to this point. But and it was difficult not breastfeeding them because that was my dream, and that was what I thought all mothers
Sure.
did. I had no idea that breastfeeding could be challenging whatsoever. No idea. I didn't take
Yeah,
it
you're
that
not alone
way.
on that.
Yeah, like I just thought it was automatic. I didn't know there could be other issues. And so it was hard and feeling unfulfilled, not being able to provide them myself what they needed. And I always hear, well, fed is best. And yes, but at the same time, breast milk is the healthiest because even, I mean, even when they were in the hospital, I wanted them to, thankfully, they had donor milk for a while, and it's just so much healthier. It's even now that they're starting to teeth and I'm giving them solids, I'm only giving them organic whole foods. I'm not giving them even organic processed foods, just natural from the earth stuff, because they're so tiny and fragile when they're in the NICU. And they did give them formula too when they're a bit older. And I just felt so guilty. Like they're so delicate, and giving them that formula, I didn't like it.
Yeah. And so you had mentioned something about, you know, fed is best,
Mm-hmm.
which is a controversial kind of, you know, experience for moms out there. It's a, how do I say this? For many women, they're hearing this
Mhm.
And of course, every baby needs to be fed. The difference is that what the culture is doing is shifting away from the support.
Mhm.
So talk to me a little bit about, so in your mind, when they were telling you do the formula and do this, did you feel that there was something else, or did you feel, oh, this
Mm.
is the last, option for me?
Mhm. I always felt there's something more. Like I said, breastfeeding is natural. We were created to breastfeed our babies. And so I knew there's
Mhm,
got to be a way. And I
mhm.
kept at it. I went to so many lactation consultants at the hospital, and they weren't really helpful. They were like kind of encouraging me to just accept that's, not all women produce the milk they need. And the twins, that's double hard. Like, it's rare. And, be okay with that. And then they would say, recommend take this supplement or that, whatnot. Um, and it just wasn't working. There wasn't a lot of walking with me. It
Mhm.
was like, here's your little advice. Now I got to go with my other clients, busy
Right.
hospital schedule. And um,
Typical hospital support.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like, I don't even like hospitals to begin with for a lot of reasons, but lack of support. And I just knew. And looking at other cultures and that
Mhm.
breastfeeding is more prevalent. I don't know. It's natural. So I knew there has to be a way. There has to be. I'm not getting to the point.
Yeah.
And then when I found you on, I think it was a Facebook ad, you were giving a master class, and
Yeah.
you brought, and it was so encompassing with the mindset, the nutrition, the spirituality, all these things that not the
Mhm.
hospital LCs aren't going to go into spirituality, maybe not even mindset. No, it's very mechanical. And I knew intuitively that breastfeeding, this intimate relationship with my babies, it's got a spiritual dynamic, and
Mhm.
let's tap into that. So it, and the mindset, it's yeah, I definitely am so glad that I found you and we tapped into that.
Yes, yes. And how long, right, did it take?
Mm,
And talk about the timing of it because,
yeah.
we had a call, and on that call, you were decisive. You
Hmm.
were certain that there was another way, and you were decisive and committed to getting that no matter what. And
Yeah.
so talk about the timing of the different shifts that you had.
So when I came across you, I was pretty desperate. It had been, I think I originally found you and subscribed to your newsletter back in like December of last year. And um, yeah, and then finally I decided in January, I'm just gonna do this. Something clicked. Like, I was really at the end of the rope. I really
Yeah.
was. I mean, at that point, what were they, 6 months,
Yep.
going on 7 months? Like,
Mhm.
and at that point, most moms would have given up long ago. Like, accept the
You're not
fact,
kidding.
bottle feed them, move on
Yep.
with your life. And I know people like this. And I just said, no, this is it. This is my last. I'm going to just go for it. I have nothing to lose. And, and so I went for it. We had our call, our consultation call, clarity call, and it was clarifying for sure. And
Good.
so I made that leap, and I'm so glad I did.
And within a week, I think I was seeing a lot of changes, and I don't know from your perspective, I wanna hear. I just, uh, noticed, a lot of different changes within Joseph over
Hmm.
the last few months, and what I really wanna decipher here for people watching is the fact what you brought up, which is a lot of the hospital LCs, and they have very rushed. And
Hmm.
that they don't have the time, and even the one-on-ones. Because I had a client recently tell me that when she goes into the pediatrician office, she breastfeeds well, but then when she goes home, she can't.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I want you to
Yeah.
touch upon kind of the continuity of, weeks
Mm.
after.
Yes, the continuity has been key. And to the going to the LC hospital, like they would do and I would think, oh, maybe the babies are doing well, and they would do a weight check, breastfeeding there, and it was like so discouraging. And I don't even go anymore because now I know they're fed, they're happy. I don't need to get a weight check
Hi,
because
Jason.
they might not feed as well under sort of a strange environment. But the continuity, so important. I mean, I was first seeing, once I was the babies were out of the NICU, I saw an LC at the hospital a few times. And I mean, I remember I had concerns about the flanges they gave me in the hospital. I mean, I had no idea about pumps. Like, I didn't think I was going to need one. I didn't know anything. And they just gave me the standard supply, like, here you go. And I had no idea there were other sizes. And this one I saw, after they're out of the NICU, I had concerns, and she said, oh no, that's fine. She eyeballed it, and like I wanted her to really look at it. And of course it was way too big. She didn't know anything. I mean, they're not trained for this, I guess. I don't know, but then I saw a couple other ones and here and there, and yeah, it having a different LC, it was good in a way. Like, I might get different opinions or different viewpoints, but like you said one time, Rachel, if you're getting so many different viewpoint or opinions, they're
Mhm.
not getting to the heart of the matter.
Mm.
And when I
That's good
began
advice.
yeah, when I began working with you, you were able to you looked at everything, not
Mm.
just the flange size or their latch, but you dove into the mentality, the mindset, concerns. I had fears. I had everything. You got so deep that
Mm.
you were able to reach down, and from there we could move forward week by week. And the babies progressed so fast. I mean, when we first started, I was still pumping, and I saw an
Mhm.
instant boost I like doubled, and I wasn't producing much when I pumped, but I doubled the pumping. And little by little, we got to breastfeeding. And the biggest leap was with Joseph and how he developed, and doing the oral exercises. That was huge. Like,
Mhm.
none of the doctors, not even the pediatricians in the hospital, said anything about the fact that Joseph mouth breathes,
Mhm.
that he snores. Like,
Mhm.
you know, the people take it for granted. Oh, people snore, but it's not right. Something's misaligned.
Mhm.
And because I had been seeing a chiropractor myself, and
Mhm.
he's holistic, and I know that our bodies are made to function a certain way, and if they're not doing that, there's something wrong. Even though it's just snoring, but it's a
Mhm.
sign of something. And so,
Yeah,
in fact, it is. And so we've been working on the oral exercises, and chiropractic for the babies has been huge.
that's
I
great.
mean, so huge. Like, and Joseph had been seeing a physical therapist at the hospital, and she would give me exercises to do, and I'd do them, and they helped to an extent. But
Mhm.
having that chiropractic, it's
Mhm.
huge. It's like amazing. And
Mhm.
just having you walk with me week by week, helping me see the progress,
Mhm.
and pushing me forward, and pushing me,
Yeah.
because it's hard. Like, I feel like I am a motivated, successful woman, but it's hard to stay motivated, and with
Mhm.
two babies and being a stay-at-home mom and doing everything around the house and the babies,
Mhm.
and it's a lot. So when
Mhm.
I have your support and the group,
Mhm.
every time we met every week, I
Mhm.
would look forward to our group
Mhm.
session, hearing from other moms, and just interacting and having that consistency has really helped me move forward.
Awesome. And you were very decisive on that first call. So how did that decisiveness on that call also help you throughout the weeks that you were working with me?
Because that decisiveness was deep down mother
Mm,
instinct, desire for deep bond
mhm,
with my children to
mhm,
breastfeed is so fulfilling.
mhm.
And that is the drive to get me from where I was to struggling, thinking there was no hope, to where
Yeah.
I am, to where I'm exclusively breastfeeding twins.
Yeah!
Yes. Amen. And
Amen. Say that
yes,
again to
and
where you are.
amen. I'm
Say it again.
exclusively breastfeeding twins. I, after months and months, and 8 months of
Yeah.
struggle. Like my daughter, Sierra, I was breastfeeding her earlier, pretty soon after I have been working with you. And then finally, Joseph's been coming around. 8 months. They're going to be 10 months in a couple of weeks. And I mean, to the mothers who, like, I know a lot of moms struggle at first and they eventually, it works out for them. But for the moms who go on and it doesn't work out and months go by, I say don't give up because, oh my goodness, if I had listened to the LCs at the hospital or anybody or online or other moms, I would have just given up. I mean, but I was listening to myself, to within and
Yeah.
my instinct, and I knew that this was possible. I knew it and I knew it, and I just needed the help. I didn't know how to get there. And I looked on, I Googled everything. I'm on all the support groups, but none of that really has helped. I mean, it kind of kept me going to
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna like flatline, but at least I'm not down. But what I really needed was this one-on-one consistent support, holistic support.
And so, needless to say, you're pleased with the results that you have,
Hmm.
and it's because of the hard work that you put in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were you
So
ever
fulfilling,
surprised?
fulfilled, surprised. Yeah, yeah. Because it has been such a struggle, and for a while before working with you, I was doing what I called appetizer breastfeeding.
Okay.
And I would feed
Okay.
them a little
Mhm.
and then give them the bottle because I believed, oh, they're not getting I'm not producing, they're not strong enough. And then as soon as you helped me work through that mentality issue, I just let them go. Okay, let's see what happens. I won't give the bottle. I'll just let them feed. And and they were fine.
And that's your
They
power.
were content. When they're done, they're done. It's like when we eat. Okay, we're done. We're gonna move on. Same with them. I didn't have to worry. Like, are they full? Did they eat enough? They told me. I
Mhm,
just had to give them the opportunity to feed, and they went for it. And it was surprising when I
mm,
started doing that. I was like, oh, they're not crying. They're not
mhm,
asking for a bottle. Like, I'm
mhm.
surprised. Like, okay. And I kept doing this more and more. And then, and I got more confident with him. My daughter, I was confident early on, and she was getting breastfed sooner because he had the oral restrictions he's working through.
Yeah.
But um, even with he had some pretty significant misalignment that the chiropractor has been working through. And like after the first one or two visits, I saw
Mhm,
a huge improvement with his feeding. And that really surprised me. Like I was able
mm,
to just let him feed, let him go. Wow. And then
mm.
we had their 9-month pediatric appointment recently.
Mm.
and the pediatrician showed me their growth charts. They were born small with intrauterine growth restriction, and they were always off the curves, off
Mm.
your standard curves, which I don't put a lot of weight into that because of
Mm.
how they measure these things, and healthy babies come in all sizes. So but they're now on the standard curve, like on the low end, but they're up there. So they've
Good.
been gaining weight. That's what I'm trying to say. They've been gaining weight
Yeah.
with feeding, breastfeeding. There's proof. I like once in a while I'll give them a bottle if the situation,
Yeah.
whatever the reason, but for the most part it's exclusive breastfeeding. So the fact that they've shot up on their growth curve these past 1-2 months, it's because of what I've provided them.
Mm.
It's a like kind of a surprise, but it's more confirmation that I knew like I'm doing the right thing. This is confirmation.
Yeah. And did you do very much to change from where you were when we started to where you are now in terms of the supply?
Mm. Well, when I pump, it's still really low. It's like I never pump a nice 4 ounces or something to give them that bottle. Now I have to collect little 1-2 ounces and make a bottle. So my supply in that regard hasn't changed. But I've heard that when you pump, the pump will never extract as much as a baby. And I believe that because if my babies were only extracting 1 or 2 ounces, I don't think they would be growing.
Yeah.
They were getting 6 ounce bottles
Yeah.
6 times a day. That's a lot of milk. And the
Yeah.
fact that they're growing still without that, and just with what I'm producing, whatever it is, the supply is sufficient, and it's
Yeah.
good. And I definitely have been working at it, even though the pumping is not where I want it to be, because I would
Mhm.
like to have, instead of once in a while giving them formula bottle, I would like to give them a breast milk bottle. But I know they're getting what they need when they breastfeed. And I've been doing a lot with your help. I've really taken a look at my diet and worked at it. And it's hard because like diet, I mean, even postpartum, I had no idea. Like in one of your modules you talk about how the body heals, and I didn't know.
Mm.
Like my mom would always tell me, oh yeah, I got back to, I did the normal things after you're born, up and at 'em, like no big deal. And I'm the kind of the same way. I
Mhm.
wasn't, thankfully I didn't have a C-section or anything, but
Mhm.
even though I was good, I still needed to heal. And I wasn't eating like the broths. Like I was eating same old food as
Mhm.
pre-birth, like more. So even now I'm
Mhm.
more working on eating those things like broths, and salads have been really good. Just eating healthy overall to improve my supply, and feel better.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I feel better because I know what I'm giving myself is what I'm giving my babies.
Yeah.
And just like the gluten, the grains, and how that is inflammatory, I've cut that out a lot. So all
And
these things I can do.
I also wanted to emphasize because a little bit ago you said that in the beginning you had thought that you didn't have enough.
Hmm.
And when you shifted your mindset around that, you
Hmm.
recognized I have enough milk.
Hmm.
And you didn't do that much for the difference between when you came to me with that mindset until now. And a lot of moms don't think that they have enough milk. That's
Hmm.
pretty much the number one reason why women stop breastfeeding
Yeah.
is because they think they don't have enough food for their baby.
Yes. That mind shift was, I think, the number one thing and worth every penny,
Yeah,
because without that mindset shift, I would still be thinking I don't have enough. I would
you
still
did.
be pumping 6 times a day, giving them formula 6 times a day. We'd still be doing this. I know it. We would still be doing this. And yeah, people say, oh, it's your own mind over matter. You got to think positive. Yeah, but for me, I needed guidance. I could think positive thoughts all day, but that's
Yeah.
just me and myself. Like having you, an outside external voice to affirm me, and it was like trust. Somebody telling me trust in yourself, that was huge because nobody told me to trust in myself. None of the
Mhm.
LCs at the hospital, none of the other struggling moms. I mean, they might say it on a Facebook comment, but
Yeah.
it doesn't have the same effect as one-on-one. This professional, this woman who cares, this mom, fellow mom, she's saying, trust, change that mindset and work at it. Because if someone just tells me just change your mindset, okay, but having the
Yeah.
consistency of you being there to continually help me change that mindset and give me other tools and keep me going, like it's priceless.
That's awesome. And did you find it surprising to have that coming from an IBCLC?
Yeah, yeah.
Is
I
is
mean,
Mhm.
and that's the difference why I chose you. And because like with the master class and what you talked about and what we
Mhm.
discussed in the clarity call, I'm like, wow, this is deep. It hits a chord. It
Yeah.
reaches deep, and I need that. Like
Yeah.
motherhood is so deep emotionally, spiritually, and all these things are connected. The breastfeeding, the
Yeah.
nutrition, the self-care, it's all connected. And that you recognize that it's that made all the difference. And yeah, I was surprised. Oh wow, that's why I really continued. That's why I sought to connect with you, because it
Mhm.
was surprising seeing that with an IBLC. Like, this is different because all the other LCs, just there's, like I said before, it's mechanical. It's like industrial, like they have certain protocols, and you're like, to heck with protocols. You're like, let's look at you as
Yeah.
an individual.
Right. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, it's the mom and baby dyad. It's them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of moms I talk to think, well, it's me. I don't have enough milk, like we were talking about before, or
Mm-hmm.
I must have done something wrong. And there's
Mm-hmm.
so much of that.
That guilt. Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
so they quit and they have a lot of regret and shame
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
And
And
I like to share with them that it's not always them, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you and I, like, we uncovered a lot of what was going on with Joseph, like you mentioned, his oral restrictions or his body, misalignment, and that really was really an easy fix
Mm-hmm.
for, but and they know not everybody knows that, so they
Yeah.
give up.
Yeah. No.
Unfortunately, they don't have the support.
Uh-huh.
They go maybe to 1 or 2 lactation sessions, or they have someone come into the house once or twice, and it doesn't help
Yeah.
because these shifts are not only big for you, but big for babies. When they're
Yes.
born with that kind of challenges, then we have to give time towards getting the results that we need to
Yeah.
see in them. So I want to say, what were the best changes that you saw in yourself and then also in your babies?
In myself, it was the confidence that I am producing enough.
Mhm.
That was huge because I always had this fear, I'm not producing enough. I don't want
Mhm.
to starve my babies. I can't breastfeed them because if I tried, they wouldn't be satisfied.
Yeah.
So realizing that I have enough and that I was made to do this, and that my body's not failing me,
Yeah.
was a huge shift. And just being able to go out and enjoy life and not be stuck to the pump. Like it's an amazing, liberating feeling to take my babies out and say we're at the park or the mall. Even I've stopped at the mall, sat at the bench there
Yeah.
in the mall and breastfed.
Those
And
babies, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
in the park, in the restaurant. I mean,
Mhm.
it was so stressful. Like when we started, I explained how it was stressful on my relationship, on my marriage, because my husband, he'd want to go out, let's go to
Mhm.
the restaurant, let's have a nice time, and I'd be like,
Mhm.
well, I got a pump, and then oh no, we're gonna be late, and it was just so stressful. And now I don't have to worry about that. I take them out, I
Mhm.
breastfeed them,
Mm.
and I feel so good about that. And like you
Mhm.
said, once the breastfeeding them in public, giving them what they need when they need it, builds their confidence for now and when they're older. And I believe that.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that I get to do that for them. And
Mm.
biggest changes in my babies for sure, that they're breastfeeding, that my babies, this Joseph, he used to puke a lot.
Oh.
His digestion was off, and this was an issue since the NICU. And the pediatricians all said, oh, he'll grow out of it. Or even the mouth breathing, the like, oh, he'll grow out of it. Stuffy nose sound, mouth, all that. Oh, he'll grow out of it. Um, Maybe, I don't know, but the chiropractor sure improved it. He hardly
Mhm.
ever spits up now. I
Mhm.
mean, especially because I'm giving him my milk, he's
Mhm.
breastfeeding. So I think maybe with the bottle it was too much, or the ingredients
Mhm.
were too much, something. So, but all in all, it's a definite improvement. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for all of that. And, you know, um, so do you feel more confident? Your babies are breastfeeding in public, feeling confident that mom's body is able to be strong and be everything that he needs or that he and she needs there.
Hmm.
And it gives them that, as you said, it gives them that confidence to know over time, like, even though I'm in public, I'm still with my mom, I'm still safe, I'm still comforted. And
Yeah.
that gives them and you like an ease, and
Yeah.
natural.
Yeah.
It's so great. And so, you said yes to yourself. You invested in yourself and your
Hmm.
babies. And
Yeah.
and for women, to say yes, to be decisive, to invest in themselves and give
Mhm.
themselves the time.
Yeah.
Did that feel at all like a little awkward at times? Because, in our culture, it's not something that we as women and especially as moms
Mm.
do. We take care of others really well. We take care of our family, our house, then ourselves are last. So
Mhm.
talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, taking care of myself, it's so important. And having the goal in mind makes it a lot easier. Like knowing that if I do this for myself, it will have an effect with my supply, with their nutrition, with their being at ease. All of these things connect. And yeah, it's so important, and so worth it. Just
Mm,
and the work that I put in with the modules and the weekly
mm,
meetings and the monthly calls, all of that, and then changing my diet and everything else that I've been working on is so worth it. So worth it. Um and I'm so thankful I'm in a position where I can work on these things, because I know if I were back to work, it would be a struggle, continuous struggle, because then I would maybe breastfeed them when I got home, but then I'd be pumping at work, and it would just be a lot of stress. And that I said yes to myself, and thankfully I'm in that position where I can say, yes, I am staying home to feed my babies and raise them, everything they need as nature intended, really. Like, I'm thankful I'm in that position. And I have the opportunity to return to work, but I said yes to myself and to my babies, that I want to make sure that I give them my full self in
Mhm.
this journey. This is a sacred period. I really believe
Mhm.
it's a sacred time. And I don't want
Mhm.
to just throw it away to make a few extra bucks for the household. Like, I'd rather live like poverty, like, paycheck to paycheck, and have this, than go on our ski trips or whatever and not see them, not feed them. That's my viewpoint, and that's where I'm geared toward. And that's why I've been able to give them so much at this point, that we started late. Like, I called you when they were 6 months, right? So,
Mhm.
so I, most moms are back to work after 3 months, maybe 6 months. But the fact that I have this ability to get it, continue, and if I didn't have that time, the space, I would not be the successful breastfeeding mama that I am today.
Well, the idea that it can't be done going back to work is just another belief, because it would be different challenges. Uh, and there's ways around that as well. So breastfeeding moms can be at work, they can be at home, they can have all kinds of challenges that can be overcome, because with support, anything's possible. With the
Hmm.
guidance and the right proven plan and the accountability and the guidance, everything is possible. And I want to ask you, GIna, you have more ease and confidence in your life. And how about pleasure? Are you finding that that's also something in your life? Because that is such an important thing for women, that if we just know what our pleasures are and our desires, then if we tap into those, just like you did, you wanted to breastfeed and you continued to find that. As long
Hmm.
as we continue as women to find our desires and find our pleasures in life, hi Joseph, we can get anything we want. So
Yeah.
talk about that, and where you want to go with your babies. You talked about vacation and what's
Mhm.
next.
Yeah. Um, yeah, like, now that I'm not tied to the pump, I have more time to just be um, more spontaneous, go on hikes. Like, I love hiking, and I've been able to do that with them, where I don't have to lug around a lot of stuff. We can just stop and I'll feed them. And that's a lot of pleasure, to be outside in nature.
Aw, I can
Mhm.
see he's needing something. He's been so patient, as he
I
always
know.
is. He might be ready for a cuddle or a feed or
Yeah.
something else to move around, and
Yeah.
he's at that age where he wants to
Yeah.
play and
Yeah.
bounce and move.
Yeah. He's
So
ready. He's
thank
been
you
so
so much
patient.
for taking this time today to share your story. It's inspiring. And I love how you also maintain such calmness throughout, and you showed up for yourself. And hey, is if we can set this one example of a woman who said yes to herself, yes to her desire and her knowing, and is her mothering intuition to know that there's a better way, and she found it, then everybody can also, all women can have that as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
And you showed up and you did the work.
Yeah.
You really
It
did.
was so worth it. And I encourage all the moms, all the struggling moms watching this to do this for your babies and yourself, because it's so fulfilling. It fills that beautiful desire, and it's possible, and it's worth it financially. It's like, I mean, that was a hesitation I had. Like, I don't have that kind of money. My husband, we are living paycheck to paycheck, but I just said, I'm going to use my emergency card for this, and it was so worth it. And I trust that it will be taken care of.
Nice.
Because like having them breastfeed and get that foundational nutrition, biome, all that's setting them up, and the chiropractor, everything we work through, that's setting them up for a lifetime of success. So, investing in this cost for right now, it will have payoffs now and in the future.
Yes. And not only success, but health.
Health.
And our health is our wealth. Wealth is health. So
yes.
that's
Happiness.
the most important thing for the babies to have, is to have all that potential. Yeah. And also when you're breastfeeding, you have the most freedom you could have. You could, like you said, you're not attached to the pump. So that's that feeling of freedom.
Yeah.
Nice. Look at that. So aligned.
That's all he needed.
That's what he needed. He wanted to show everybody what he can do.
You can do it. Look at me. Yay. I'm so proud of us.
Yes. Tough. Yes. Abundant, GIna. Abundance, joyful. I just see so many amazing things happening. And this was a really beautiful testimonial of your experience and how, here you are, have this beautiful foundation, and anything else is possible without those tools.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that true? So good. Any other thoughts you wanted to share?
Just for all the struggling moms, but especially those who are far along, like if you're 6 months or beyond that, you think it's over, it's not over.
Right.
It's not. This was the beginning. It really was the beginning for me. The beginning of my breastfeeding journey was 6-8 months after their birth. And I have never heard of that. I've never heard of that. And like, I read testimonials for Rachel's services, and I was like, is that really possible? Can it be done? And it can.
It can be done. It's possible. It will work for you too.
Yeah. So don't give up just because you're so far along. And I had that guilt too. Like, I had I couldn't breastfeed them when they were so young. So they got used to the bottle.
Yeah.
They're not going to take to the nipple because they're used to the bottle. And I had all this guilt and regret, and, nothing I could do about it because they had to be fed. So they had the bottle. But, and that was wrong. I was thinking wrong. What I was thinking that, just because they got used to the bottle, the end of story. No. And that's something I realized through this.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you weren't wrong, because you were fed this information from the hospitals, from society.
Mm-hmm.
But what you shine, GIna, is your internal wisdom.
Yeah.
Your light within. And you said, nope, I gotta find a way.
Yeah. And I'm so thankful to have found you, and that you bring out that inner wisdom, and you foster it, and you're like,
It's true. Yes. I help moms to find their motherly intuition, which is already in them.
And that's so powerful.
It
So
is.
powerful
You
because
got it.
that it is something that we don't have in our medical culture. Like
Right.
breastfeeding is so like medicalized or
Yeah.
industrialized, it's like it's not that natural internal wisdom. Like
Yes.
that's like, oh, that's old time. They used to do that, but
But
that's
that's what we're bringing back
yeah,
almost. Like,
yeah,
we're bringing back where women would sit in circles and teach each other how to breastfeed and
yeah,
ask questions. It's like
yeah.
the old, not even school. It's like cave
It's the
days when we
yeah, and
yeah.
that's beautiful. That's so beautiful that you're digging deep and bringing this back into our culture. We need it because I mean, I think the world would be a better place if we had more of this.
Yes. The babies would be better off, the moms are better off, the families are better off because when mom is happy, everyone's happy,
Hmm.
including all of her internal family and her external family, and everyone's healthy and she's taking care of herself and her milk is flowing and the babies are happy because breastfeeding meets so many needs. It meets
Yeah.
nutritional needs, spiritual needs, like you said, the comfort, the security, warmth. So
Hmm.
if
Yeah.
you're a breastfeeding mom who's struggling, if you are a pregnant mom, if you are just having your newborn, I encourage you to, uh, know like and learn from GIna.
Yeah. And like I said earlier, I feel blessed that I'm able to be home, but even for the moms who are working, because I know if I was having to work, I would still have that desire. That doesn't go away to breastfeed your babies. You still want to have that bond, and I know that you can help them through that because like if I were still working, I would probably still have found you because of
Because of
that
that.
desire to breastfeed my babies. Like, because even when I was breastfeeding, like when I was starting working with you, I wasn't exclusively breastfeeding, but I was feeding them, like, even to get one full feeding was so huge for me.
Mhm.
I felt like this is success. So
Yeah,
yeah, that
I love
feeling,
that.
even to be able to come home at night and feed baby once or twice, full feeding. I know how rewarding that is. And that I could feed them all day, man, it's nothing like it. So anybody, like every mom should do this. Oh my goodness, no matter how far along in months, how
Mhm.
often you are with the babies, like it, just being able to pull out your breasts and breastfeed.
Look at that,
It's
right?
so
How
good.
easy is that, right?
Yeah.
And then did you even imagine how it would be so easy, and why it wasn't working before?
I mean, I would dream about just going out and doing what I'm doing now,
Mhm.
and doing what I got to do, like not even think about it, because with the bottles I had to measure out the formula,
Sure.
measure the water, and wash bottles, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
And having it just be so easy, it's so nice. It's just so rewarding.
And
And
you couldn't even have imagined that it could be this
no,
easy.
no, I couldn't have imagined.
No.
I have heard other mothers do it. I've seen other mothers do it. And I was like, no, it's just not for me. I don't know. It's just the way it is.
A lot of women feel that way. Well, it's just not gonna work for me.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing. I mean, I can get 99.9% of women to breastfeed. It's just a lot of it has to do with their determination, their
Mm-hmm.
decisiveness, their
Mm-hmm.
commitment, and
Yeah.
their desires. When
Yes.
women have desires, we encourage other women to have them and to fulfill them, and then it happens because of the
Yeah.
magic of the community.
Yeah. It's
So,
amazing what you do, Rachel. Amazing.
well, there's it's it was just getting started,
Yeah.
and so for you and for everyone watching, share this with your friends and your colleagues and your family, and let's get everyone to have these amazing results like GIna has. And I'm looking at Joseph and how aligned he is, how much he's on you just so comfortably. Your positioning is so relaxed. You're on camera. I honor you for being on camera, feeding your baby, for all the work you've done. Just show everybody what's possible. You don't know how many thousands of people this could reach, and here you are, and you are a testimonial that I will always remember. And I'm so deeply grateful for you and for Joseph and Sierra and Mike and Mike,
Mark,
right? That's it.
Mark.
Mark. Sorry, I knew it was an M. Sorry. Yeah, well, ah,
Thank you.
yes, you got it. And this has been just wonderful. Final thoughts. Final thoughts. Or as we say, what's your favorite frame of the last 2 months, would you say? Like, what was your favorite frame? Like maybe you had an aha moment or
My aha moment was when I I fed Sierra and fed her a few times, and like when I first started, and she, like, even after the first time I just breastfed her, and I was like nervous, like, oh, she's only feeding for like 5 minutes, and it can she because with bottles she'd be at the bottle for like 15-20 minutes. So I'm like, there's no way she could be getting what she needs, but she hopped off the breasts and went on her merry way. So that was a big aha, and I kept doing that to confirm, like, okay, she is getting what she needs. So big aha that that I was producing what she needed. That was big, and it just all kept going. And the day that I fed him, like, I was hesitant with him. I was like, okay, I've got 3, I'm breastfeeding him 3 times a day, and the rest I'm bottling him. And I was like, this is great, but you pushed me. You said only 3, like, keep going. And why only 3? Why not all breastfeeding? And so I'm like, yeah, okay, I don't know. Well, then I went and did it, and he was content. So
yeah,
just do it.
that's awesome. I'd like to leave with like an image. So when this was taught to me by a very wise woman, and I never knew this, but it was a beautiful image that was left in my mind, and I want to share it because if we consider we're mammals and babies, all mammals, sheep, elephants, whatever, breastfeed their babies, they do it in a way where they carry and follow. So the babies are on the moms and they carry their babies and the babies follow them through wherever they're grazing and they feed on demand, right? And they feed whenever they want. And if we think about that as we are mammals as well, and our babies just want to maybe, I mean, how many times did I sit this, right? So it's just whenever your body feels the need for some liquid or from nourishment, that's the same way with our mammal babies, our baby humans, right? Versus like putting babies into a nest like a bird and then coming to them, right? Because babies want to move. So
I love that image. I like to think of that.
I love this conversation, and thank you so much. Thank your babies for joining us. And you
Thank,
are needed. You are
thank
needed by
you.
Sierra.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next time.
All
Thanks,
right.
Gina.
Thank you, Rachel. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Joseph. Bye bye.
Thank you, Rachel.
Ah. Bye bye. Ah, bye, Sierra.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so If you are a struggling mom and you want to have results just like GIna, it is so possible. I put the link right there in the chat that you can get on, book a call with me. I have some time tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, just to chat and see where your desires are, where you're at in your breastfeeding journey, where you're at as a new mom. What desires do you have to fulfill for your life? And can they start right here, right now with your new baby? So I'm Rachel Simpson, lactation consultant and new mom coach. Just getting moms to, well, not just, but getting moms to feel confident so they can give the very best to their baby because they're their best selves. I really appreciate you watching and sharing this with other women who need this as well in their lives. New moms struggle so much, and we don't have to. They don't have to struggle. There are solutions. There are better ways, and there is freedom to be had. So I look forward to chatting with you. Have a wonderful day. Bye now.